Our Dr. Karen Cooper from NC State is going to give the welcome, and then we have a keynote speaker who's going to be in this Zoom room with us, and then right around 9:50 or so, we're going to give you 10 minutes to transition to all the different talks that we have. So please just wait just a sec, get your coffee, get ready. I think Karen might be ready to give the welcome.
Hi, everybody. Sorry for that little delay. I'm super excited to see you all here this morning, bright and early. And it is with my greatest pleasure that I welcome you to the 2020 North Carolina Citizen Science Symposium. And as you may recall, we were scheduled to do this as an in-person event back in March, back when we didn't have to say in person because we knew that's what it meant. And that was really before we knew all that 2020 had in store for us. But in some ways it's a fitting year because 2020, right? 2020 means perfect vision, clarity, and maybe this is the year that more people than ever are opening their eyes and focusing their vision to what many people who are gathering with us today have been saying for years, for decades. And we face a lot of challenges because of how humans treat each other and how we treat the planet. And those actions are very tied together. And I certainly hope that participatory sciences that we're celebrating today are key to how we collectively will figure out how to live sustainably and justly on the planet. So before I introduce our keynote, I just want to take a few minutes of time and to make sure everyone has a chance to wake up and commute from the breakfast table over to their computer. And I just wanted to cover a few things. First is that North Carolina, like as we're gathering here on Zoom, well, I'm very grateful that we're here together and that we're each in our home coming to this virtual spot because of our shared interests in citizen science. And no matter where you are in the US, there's a lot of history that led to this moment. For some are here, you know, from a history of people that were brought against their will. Others are here from a history of people who left their homes in hopes of a better life. And then others come from a history of people who lived on this land for generations over millennia. And acknowledgement of this history is really important for establishing mutual respect and connections across our differences. So really, North Carolina, 400 years ago, there were more than 30 Native American tribes that live on what we now call North Carolina. And so NC State and Raleigh, where I'm sitting right now, is land that was originally stewarded by other peoples. And so just as acknowledgement of that, we can acknowledge the painful history of genocide, of stolen land, and of forced removals from this region through colonization. And we're mindful of the current forces and harms of settler colonialism. And I think it's important we honor and respect the many diverse Indigenous peoples still connected to this land and their leadership in environmental justice and land stewardship. And while we're in that frame of mind for acknowledging people and thanking people, I want to acknowledge that for this event, those that helped with it, our advisory committee, which includes Al Richmond, who's the director of Community Campus Partnerships for Health, Valerie Johnson, who's the Dean of Arts, Sciences, and Humanities at Shaw University, and Kwesi Brookins, who's an associate professor in psychology and Africana studies at NC State and leads NC State's Community University Partnership. And then I'll introduce our hosts for today's event, which include me. Hi, I'm Karen Cooper. I'm an associate professor at NC State in forestry and environmental resources, and I'm part of the Leadership in Public Science cluster. And Caroline Nickerson, you'll see a lot today. She's the manager and there she's waving, the manager of SciStarter.org. And then Brianna Johns, I don't know if she can wave. You'll see her a lot today too, both as a presenter and as a host. And she has been the manager of our Citizen Science Campus program at NC State. And this event marks Bree's transition away from the part-time piecemeal work that that has been super valuable to me throughout her time as an undergraduate here at State, as she moves on to other employment and to what I have no doubt will be a very big impact on the world and on the field of citizen science. And so I do want to take this moment to give a big thank you to Bree, and really hope we all can just for a moment celebrate Bree and thank her for all that she has brought to the North Carolina State University community. She was founder of the Citizen Science Club, which was the first of its kind, and it has sparked similar clubs in other places. She contacted me. It was almost 3 years ago to the day. I was looking back at emails. She contacted me on September 7th, 2017, and we met the next day. She had just returned from a semester abroad in Australia where she'd encountered citizen science. And she said, I want to create a student club. I want more students to learn about citizen science. We talked about the Citizen Science Campus program that was just in its infancy and decided that she would help bring it forward. And there's a Jewish proverb, which is, I don't ask for a lighter burden, but for broader shoulders. And I wasn't asking for any lighter burden. Like, I wanted this citizen science campus to be built. And Bree really was that force that was able to broaden my shoulders to make it possible. And I'm not exaggerating when I say that all that we have accomplished with the Citizen Science Campus program is because Bree has been with me there in the trenches, moving it forward. So now, like, really thanks to Bree's help, do check out our website for the Citizen Science Campus and see the programs that we have. If you click this button here to participate at SciStarter, you can see our SciStarter page, which has a tutorial about citizen science. It has featured projects, and there's an area where you can create lists of your favorite projects and share those. And if you click on the upper right, you can flip through our magazine, or you can download it as a PDF. And really our plan for the in-person event in March was that we were going to give everyone a printed copy of that magazine. Anyway, but I hope you'll check it out. And you can see the programs that we've been doing. It's been great that we've had a residence hall be able to do citizen science for service learning. The libraries loaning out citizen science tools and hosting citizen science events. Over a dozen instructors at NC State who are including citizen science experiences in their classes, and much, much more. And now we're really excited that this is growing and that North Carolina A&T just received funding from the National Science Foundation to build capacity for their citizen science campus programs. And with all of this, we're continuing on now, especially to provide programming for our students during the pandemic, as everyone is, as we want everyone to feel a connection back to campus and with the Wolfpack. And so I'm happy to announce that the Citizen Science Campus program, in partnership with SciStarter, is going to be starting a live stream series, particularly, like I said, aimed with students. That'll be co-hosted with Deja Perkins, who is a recent graduate of NC State with a citizen science project called the Triangle Bird Count. She was also one of the organizers of Black Birders Week. And then she'll co-host that with Caroline of SciStarter. So stay tuned for more on that. And finally, I want to thank our sponsors who help make this event possible, which includes Community Campus Partnerships for Health, our North Carolina State University Leadership in Public Science, Eco Explore, which is an initiative of the North Carolina Arboretum up in Asheville, NC State University's Science House, and of course SciStarter, who's providing us with this Zoom Central, the Citizen Science Association, and also Duke Energy. I'm going to mention that because there's so many of us gathered here today with interests in citizen science, please be sure to check out this program in collaboration with the Citizen Science Association of our data ethics study. And anyway, go there, we'll put it in the chat, read about it, and we hope that you'll take part in this process. So just briefly, one more thing is just, this is our schedule for today. And what I want to point out is that this Zoom link is what we're calling Symposium Central. And throughout this whole entire day, one of the hosts will always be here. And so if you get lost and can't find your way to the workshop you want to go to or the talks, just come here and we will be able to help you find the right link and get where you want to be. And at this central place is where we will have our keynote shortly, where we'll also come together again for our networking lunch. For that, it's going to be fun. We're going to break you out repeatedly into different small groups so you meet people. We'll have sort of an icebreaker kind of activity to do then. And then we're going to come back at the end for our closing remarks from our advisory board. So in these other times, we built in a lot of transitions, a lot of buffer time. But anyway, like I said, you can always come here also just to schmooze and to help find your way to the workshops and talks and the posters. And I do encourage people to use the chat to introduce yourself. Go ahead and say hi in the chat, say where you are, what part of the state, and we can all just start to get to know each other there. And okay, now without further